all know that Jose Rizal is identified as a hero of revolution for his writings that center on ending colonialism and liberating Filipino minds, a contribution to creating the Filipino nation. The great volume of Rizal's life work was committed to his end. Particularly, the more influential ones are the No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo. His essays vilify not Catholic religion, but the friars, the main agents of injustice in the Philippine society. It is understandable, therefore, any piece of writing from Rizal that reckons everything he wrote against friars in the Catholic Church in the Philippines could deal heavy damage to his image as a prominent Filipino revolutionary. Such document purportedly exists, allegedly signed by Rizal a few hours in his execution. The document referred to as the Retraction declares Rizal's belief in the Catholic faith and retracted everything he wrote against the Church. So this was the primary source of Rizal's retraction. The source was translated from the document found by Father Manuel Garcia, C.M. on 18th of May 1935. It states there, "I declare myself as a Catholic, and in this religion in which I was born and educated, I wish to live and die. I retract with all my heart whatever is in my words, writings, publications, and conduct has been contrary to my character as the son of the Catholic Church. I believe and I confess whatever she teaches, and I submit to whatever she demands. I abominate Masonry as the enemy which is of the Church, and as a society prohibited by the Church. The diocesan prelate may, as the superior ecclesiastical authority, make public these spontaneous manifestations of mine, in order to repair the scandal which my acts may have been caused, and so that God and people may pardon me." From Manila, 29th of December of 1896, and it was written by Jose Rizal. There are 4 iterations of the text of retraction. First was published in the La Voz Española and Diario de Manila on the day of execution, the 30th day of December 1896. The second text was appeared in the Barcelona, Spain in the magazine of La Juventud. A few months after the execution, the 14th day of February 1897. It is from an anonymous writer who was later on revealed to be Father Vincent Balaguer. But the original text was only found in the Archdiocesan archives on 18th May 1935, but after almost 4 decades of disappearance.
The Balaguer testimony. According to a testimony by Father Vicente Balaguer, a Jesuit missionary who best friend the hero during his exile in Dapitan, Rizal accepted a certain retraction document prepared by the superior of the Jesuit Society in the Philippines, Father Pio P. It was written in Manila on December 20, 1896, and signed by Rizal. Balaguer's testimony says that he stayed most of the time and he witnessed that Rizal woke up several times and said sorry 4 times. Retraction needs to be confessed so that in the execution day he is clean.
Doubts on the retraction document abound, especially because only one eyewitness account of the writing of the document has been exist, that of the Jesuit friar Father Vicente Balaguer. According to his testimony, Rizal woke up several times, confessed 4 times, and attended a mass, received a communion, and prayed in rosary, all of which seemed out of character. But since it is only a testimony of allegedly a primary account that Rizal ever wrote the retraction document, it has been used to argue the authenticity of the document.
Of cuerpo de Vigilancia, another eyewitness account surfaced in 2016 through the research of Professor Rene R. Escalante. In his research, the command of Cuerpo de Vigilancia include a report, The Last Hour of Rizal, written by Federico Moreno. The report details statement of Cuerpo de Vigilancia to Moreno. At 7:50 yesterday morning, Jose Rizal entered that row accompanied by his concealed senior Travel de Andrade and the Jesuit priest Villa Carla at the urging of the former and moments. After entering, he was served a light breakfast at approximately 9, the assistant of the plaza. Senior Mature asked Rizal if he wanted anything. He replied that at the moment he only wanted a prayer book, which was brought to him shortly by Father March. Senior Andrade left that row at 10 and Rizal spoke for a long while with the Jesuit Father March and Villa Carla regarding religious matters. It appears that these two presented him with a prepared retraction on his life and thus that he refused to sign. They argue about the matter until 12:30 when Rizal eats some poached egg and a little chicken. Afterward, he asked to leave to write and work for a long time by
At 3
himself.
in the afternoon, Father March entered the chapel and Rizal handed him what he had written. The chief of firing squad, Senor Del Fresno, and assistant of plaza, Senor Mori, were informed. And after that, they entered death row together with Rizal, signed the document that the accused had written. At 5 this morning of the 30th, the lover of Rizal arrived at the prison. Only the former entered in chapel, followed by military chaplain na hindi niya matiyak kung sino ito. And after donning his formal attire, the nuptial of Rizal with his lover were performed at the point of death. And after her lover hugged him, she left with flooded of tears. This account corroborates the existence of the retraction document, giving it credence. Father Balaguer was the first person who seen the document, pero hindi siya naibanggit dito. So Father Balaguer was considered as a secondary source of written document. The retraction of Rizal remains to this day a controversy one. His relevance remains solidified to Filipinos and pushed them to continue the revolution, which eventually resulted in independence in 1898. So marami pa rin ang mga naniniwala na hindi dapat magbago ang ating paningin sa ating pambansang bayani because we will no longer deny the contribution in Rizal and with that, it will result sa ating kasarinan in the year of 1898.
Rizal connection to the Katipunan is undeniable. In fact, the precursor of the Katipunan as an organization is the La Liga Pilipina, an organization Rizal founded with Andres Bonifacio as one of its members. But La Liga Pilipina was short-lived as the Spaniards exiled Rizal to the Pitan. Former members and decided to band together to establish the Katipunan a few days after Rizal exile on July 7, 1892. Rizal may not have been officially part of the Katipunan, but the Katipuners showed great appreciation of his work toward the same goals. And out of the 28 members of the leadership of the Katipunan, known as the Kataas-Taasang Sanggunian ng Katipunan, from 1892 to 1896. 13 were former members of the La Liga Filipina Katipuneros, even Rizal named as a password. So, sa 28 daw na member ng pamunuan or leadership ng kataas ng katipunan na kinilala or tawag dito ay kataas-taasang sanggunian ng katipunan mula noong 1892 hanggang 1896. Ang dating member daw ng La Liga Filipina ay ginamit pa ang pangalan ng ating pambansang bayani bilang isang password.
In 1896, the Katipuneros decided to inform Rizal of their plans to launch the revolution and sent Pio Valenzuela to visit Rizal in Dapitan. Valenzuela's account of his meeting with Rizal have been greatly doubted by many scholars. But according to him, Rizal objected to the plans, saying that doing so would be tantamount to suicide, since it would be difficult to fight the Spaniards who had the advantage of military resources. He added that the leaders of Katipunan must do everything they could to prevent the spilling of Filipino blood. Valenzuela informed Rizal that the revolution could inevitably break out if the Katipunan were to be discovered by the Spaniards. Rizal advised Valenzuela that the Katipunan should be first secure the support of wealthy Filipinos to strengthen their cause, and suggested that Antonio Lona be recruited to direct the military movement of the revolution.
As you can see on the screen, the topic is Where Did the Cry of Rebellion Happen? This case study, momentous events swept the Spanish colonies in the late 19th century, including the Philippines. The journalists of the time referred to the phrase El Grito de Rebelión or Cry of Rebellion to mark the start of these revolutionary events, identifying the places where it happened. In the Philippines, this happened in August 1896 at northeast of Manila, where they declared rebellion against the Spanish colonial government. These events are important markers in the history of colonies that struggled for their independence against their colonizers. The controversy regarding this event stems from the identification of the date and place of the cry. Prominent Filipino historian Teodoro Agoncillo emphasizes the event when Bonifacio tore the cedula or tax receipt before the Katipuneros, who also did the same. Some writers identified the first military event with the Spaniards, the moment of the cry, for which Emilio Aguinaldo commissioned an Hymno de Balintawak to inspire the renewed struggle after the Pact of the Aknabatu field. A monument to the heroes of 1896 was erected in what is now the intersection of Epifanio de los Santos Avenue or EDSA and Andres Bonifacio Drive North Diversion Road, and from then on until 1962. The Cry of Balintawak was celebrated every 26th of August. The site of the monument was chosen for a known reason.
The cry gives different dates and places. A Guardia Lieutenant Oligario Diaz identified to have happened in Balintawak on August 25, 1896. Teodoro Calao, Filipino historian, marks the place in Kangkong, Balintawak on the last week of August 1896. Santiago Alvarez, a Katipunero and son of Mariano Alvarez, leader of Magdiwang faction in Cavite, put the cry in Bahay Toro in Quezon City on August 24, 1896. Pio Valenzuela, known Katipunero and privy to many events concerning the Katipunan, stated that to have happened in Pugadlawin on August 23, 1896. Historian Gregorio Zaide identified to have happened in Balintawak on August 26, 1896. Research by historian Milagros Guerrero, Emmanuel Encarnacion, and Ramon Villegas claimed that the cry took place in Tandang Sauras, born in Golod, Barangay Tanlac, Quezon City on August 24, 1896.
Account of the Cry of Guillermo Masangkay. Source: Guillermo Masangkay, Cry of Balintawak, in Gregorio Daisy and Sonia Zaide. Documentary Sources of the Philippine History, Volume 8, Manila National Bookstore, 1990, 307-309. On August 26, a big meeting was held in Balintawak at the House of Appointees Luzon, then cabeza of the Bar of Caloocan. Those who attended, I remember, were Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, Aguiado del Rosario, Thomas Remigio, Priscio Pantas, Teodoro Plata, Pio Valenzuela, Enrique Pacheco, and Francisco Carrion. They were all the leaders of the Katipunan and composed the board of directors of the organization. Delegates from the Bulacan, Cabanatuan, Cavite, and Moro were also present.
Of the primary source accounts of the cry by Guillermo Masangkay at about 9 o'clock in the morning of August 26. The meeting was opened with Andres Bonifacio presiding and Emilio Jacinto acting as secretary. The purpose was to discuss when uprising was to take place. Teodoro Plata, Brescio Pantas, and Pio Valenzuela were all opposed to starting the revolution too early. Andres Bonifacio, sensing that he would lose in the hall and talked to the people who were waiting outside for the result of the meeting of the leaders. Andres Bonifacio told the people that the leaders were arguing against starting the revolution early, and appealed to them in a fair speech in which he said, "You remember the fate of our countrymen who were shot in Bagumbayan. Should we return now to the towns? The Spaniards will only shoot us. Our organization has been discovered and we are all marked men. If we don't start the uprising, the Spaniards will get us anyway. What then? Do you say? Revolt!" The people shouted as one. Andres Bonifacio then asked the people to give a pledge that they were to revolt. He told them that the sign of slavery of the Filipino were SEC. The cedula task charge each citizen, "It is true that you are ready to revolt. I want to see you destroy your cedulas. It will be a sign that all of us have declared our severance from the Spaniards."
Pio Valenzuela. Source is Pio Valenzuela, The Cry of Pugadlawin in Gregorio Zaide and Sonia Zaide. So, documentary sources of Philippine history. So, Volume 8 in Manila National Bookstore in 1990, 301 to 302. So, the first place, Refuge of Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, Procorpio Bonifacio, Teodoro Plata, Aguido del Rosario, and myself was Balintawak. The first 5 arriving there on August 19 and I on August 20, 1896. So the first place where some 500 members of the Katipunan met on August 22, 1896. So was the house and yard of Apolonio Samson at Kangkong. Aside from the person mentioned above, among those who were there were Bricio Pantas, Alejandro Santiago, Ramon Bernardo, Apolonio Samson, and others. Here views were only exchanged and no resolution was debate or adopt. It was at Pugad Lawin, the house storehouse, and the yard of Juan Ramos, son of Melchora Aquino, where over 1,000 members of the Katipunan met and carried out considerable debate and discussion on August 23, 1896. So the discussion was on whether or not the revolution against the Spanish government should be started on August 29, 1896. So after the tumultuous meeting, many of them were present their cedula certificate and shouted, "Long life the Philippines! Long life the Philippines!"
From the eyewitness accounts presented, there is ended marked disagreement among historical witnesses as to the place and time of occurrence of the crime. Using primary and secondary source, we have 4 places: Balintawak, Kangkong, Pugad Lawin, and Bahay Turo. While the dates vary, 23, 24, 25 or 26 August 1896. Valenzuela's account should be read with caution. He once told a honest investigator that the crime happened in Balintawak on Wednesday, 26 August 1896. He wrote in his memoirs of the revolution that it happened at Pugad Lawin on 23 August 1896. Should always be seen as a red flag when they link with primary source. According to Guerrero, Encarnacion, and villages, all these places are in Balintawak, then part of the Caloocan, now in Quezon City. As for the dates, Bonifacio and his troops may have been moving from one place to another to avoid being located by the Spanish government, which explain why there are several accounts of the crime.